What did you learn in this class you, I guess, taken and used in the real world?
Probably just the whole idea of like having like a smart approach to having an internet presence, because that's something I hadn't really thought about. And I mean, I'm 19, so I'm still young, and I haven't really like done anything in the career world. But kind of after taking this class and being in EMAC this semester, I kind of got a better idea of like how to use Twitter to like better present myself to the business world, as well as like not that I really had a problem with like Facebook, like being obscene on Facebook, but like that's out there now. And we talked a little bit about like search engine optimization and like having blogs and like kind of having an online presence that's smart and that can get you the farthest. So I think that's something that I'll be able to take away, is that just like when I move forward and I know that I'm going to have to use the internet like more in the job world, and when I graduate college, and probably even as I continue further college, that like I'll be able to approach it and have knowledge of all of these things, and like not be naive but also be smart about using them.
I think all of the talk about privacy and like how you don't have any privacy on the internet has changed. I'm more careful about what I put out there, I guess, or I'm more aware of it. And all of these surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
Aware of just, everyone is watching you all the time, even if you want them to or not.
Probably the privacy. I didn't realize to what extent Facebook, I guess, went about violating people's, privacy rights. I guess you could just.
So you've like made a lot of changes based off, I guess, what you learned in class? To your Facebook profile, or?
Not necessarily, but I'm definitely more aware of what I do and what kind of information I'll divulge to them.
I use Twitter more, and before this class, I was actually on Facebook more often, like every day. And I find myself on Facebook less and using kind of the Twitter feeds and kind of the network that I've built on Twitter to ask questions and gauge responses over Facebook. And that I thought was interesting, because remember we did that project where you was not on Facebook for the week.
Yeah.
Remember that assignment? And then that lady interviewed me. Did she interview you too?
No, she was supposed to, but.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyways, so after that, it was crazy how that lessened my desire to go on Facebook, because during that week I was on Twitter more, and so it was like, oh my God, this is so much cooler.
The benefit, like what benefits I think were best for you, I guess?
The information that I get on Twitter and the responses, because like I was having a problem with my blog as far as like Google Analytics and crap like that, and I tweeted the question, and like 10 people from ATEC was like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I was like, oh, this rocks, That value I never got on Facebook, and I thought that is why it kind of switched me to Twitter and reading the articles and kind of following people that I normally wouldn't follow and gaining that information. So I thought it was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that I thought was the most value for me out of this class.
Okay, and what shocked you the most during the class?
Probably like all of the stuff about privacy, just because I had never really thought about it. I mean, I knew that like Facebook was kind of going non-privacy, but I just didn't really realize that not only was Facebook doing that, but it's kind of the direction of like the internet itself, and that everything's going to start being tied to usernames. Kind of anonymity is kind of dying, and just that everything you do is being tracked and it can be saved. Which it's not that I think necessarily it's shocking in that people need to hide everything now, but it's just like a weird awareness that everyone needs to gain, that not only do you have to be like smart about what you post, but I mean it can be used to your advantage, but also it can have downsides. And just that, like, I don't know, I just didn't realize that it had gotten so crazy, and that
like
now with the whole
Facebook
idea
and Google
with
and everything.
with all of them, and they're all trying to like get your online presence, and also with web, the internet going, as we've talked about, going more towards mobile technology. Well, with mobile technology, it's going to be tied to you because it's your phone. So I don't know, I think that's kind of interesting to consider, not only that it's gone this direction with computers and how much information is being saved on everyone and how much can be tracked on people just with computers, but with phones, I mean, that's like your own personal thing. You don't go to like a phone lab to, it's your own personal device. So I just think it's kind of shocked me, because I mean, I have an internet presence, but I still think of myself as being like not really like internet findable. But after all we've talked about, it kind of seems like everybody is. It's kind of unavoidable unless you just don't go online at all.
Yeah, it's kind of giving me a feeling like you try to escape by leaving your computer, but your cell phone's following you around.
Because now cell phones are, you know, like mobile internet. So it's like even if you leave your computer and you say, oh, or like even if you quit Facebook, like there's still other things like we've talked about with tracking like Google searches and email and everything. Like even if you leave one thing, like you're still going to move to another thing. And since we've kind of become reliant on this technology, it's like you're just moving from one to the other. And some might have better privacy than others, but your information is still being saved.
I think the most shocking thing we talked about was the alternate reality shows. There was this a participative drama series called The Truth About Marika, and it was set up by this network that made a story about a person gone missing, and then someone came on the news and said that that was their story and they had stole it and it was real life, when in reality all of it was fake. But the audience didn't know that, so they got really involved, and they started trying to solve the mystery, thinking it was real, and at the end they finally figure out none of it's true.
Maybe just Google being Big Brother-ish, and I guess that they had considered purchasing Facebook. Fortunately, you know, they wouldn't sell out, but just the concept of them having access to that much information is kind of like mind-blowing.
Yeah. And does that change in any way how you use Google, or maybe you use Google less?
I've considered, you know, using different search browsers or search engines or whatever, but I don't really care, I guess, enough to hide my my search patterns from them.
Yes, that and Google. Because I always thought of Google as being this great, good thing over Facebook. Facebook's the devil, this is what I would think. And then after the Google presentation, you're like, well, really? You know, they do all this? And it was a shocker, but the crazy thing about it is it didn't change my habits.
No, wow.
So, like, I still use Google the same. I still use other applications. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. They're tracking this, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that I thought was the weirdest part, was that it doesn't matter.
Even though you're aware?
Even though I'm aware.
Did you change the settings?
On Facebook, I did.
Okay.
On Facebook, I changed all my privacy settings, and I kind of edited that, but I didn't on Google, which I thought was interesting, because in my mind, I still think they're the good guy, even though after doing the readings and watching the videos, kind of like,
Just the lesser of the two evils, I guess?
yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just what I thought.